I wasn't originally going to do this, but I just finished filming my season 1 episode 5 reaction video, and then I came back and watched the season 3 trailer again and decided, yes, in fact, I do need to make a breakdown video because there's just a few specific moments that have me really excited that I want to point out and talk about. So fair warning, spoilers are going to abound in this, so get ready. I've got the playback speed reduced a little bit, and we're gonna go through this trailer, and there's just a couple things that I'm putting pieces together in my head, and if I'm right, I'm really excited. So let's see what we got here. So we've got the girls riding on their horses in those really elaborate outfits. And then there's this guy standing in the river, and upon close-up, we can see it's a very long-haired, disheveled looking Rand. And that really intrigued me. So I think maybe this is a turning of the wheel moment, or like a flicker moment, perhaps in Egwene's accepted test. I want to say she has some moments there where she sees like different lives that she could have led, where she just settles down with Rand and is still dealing with him, like suffering the consequences of being either a channeler who is not accessing the power but still like suffering because of that, or is a channeler and suffering because of that. And so I think this is maybe a glimpse of a possible turning of the wheel in which those three girls are all full-fledged Aes Sedai, and she's coming back to deal with a false dragon or mad version of Rand. The scene we've been getting hinted at of Liandrin being outed as a dark friend, and the Black Aja fleeing the tower that I alluded to with the last teaser. So I think we're definitely going to see that confrontation play out. Egwene's totally right, and that's going to become kind of her main objective. Now, we were wondering perhaps who this person sitting by themselves was, and I think it looked like Joya Bayir, the bald Aes Sedai who I have been clocking as a dark friend for some time now because I knew that name from the books. Joya in a cell, so I think while Liandrin and some of the other sisters will escape Tarvalon in that fight scene, Joya, as I said in my breakdown of The Shadow Rising, ends up being captured and interrogated by the girls and Moiraine while they're in the Stone of Tear. So while we're not getting Stone of Tear this season, I think we are going to see her be captured and questioned, and that will be how they get the information about what's going on in Tanchico and what the Black Sisters are doing and or looking for there, which will be what sends the Supergirls there on their hunt for the Black Aja and the special item. Now, we saw this brief shot here of Moghedien caressing Nynaeve, but we see this shot of Nynaeve looking at Moghedien, and all I can see in this shot is like the slavish devotion in eyes. So I think this girl is compulsed to high heavens, and this is the scene that we're seeing where Moghedien slips into where they're staying in Tanchico and compulses all of the girls, gets them to reveal all of their plans, because when you're compulsed, it's just like, oh my gosh, yes, master, what can I do for you, master? I will tell you everything, master. So she compulses all of the girls to spill the beans about all of their plans and everything they know, and then totally wipes their memories and leaves afterwards. So I think that's what we're seeing here, is her putting Nynaeve under compulsion to feel that slavish devotion and that need to tell Moghedien everything and please her. Lanfear sitting with Rand and having a makeout sesh, but then she's like ominously looking over her shoulder at someone, and then it cuts to a scene with Egwene. So I'm wondering who Lanfear was looking at, if she really saw Egwene, because I think that scene between her and Rand is taking place in the world of dreams, and that we're going to see a lot of Lanfear showing up to Rand and maybe other people in the world of dreams since that's her expertise, and we saw some allusions with the other Forsaken showing up last season that she was going to have to move a little bit more covertly. But she definitely was staring daggers at whoever she was looking at, so I have a feeling it was either seeing Egwene popping into the world of dreams and stumbling across them, because we're definitely getting a hint at this next scene here of what I've been long awaiting for, which is Egwene learning she has Dreamwalker powers, and then here meeting one of the Aiel Wise One Dreamwalkers for the first time and being told to come to them for training. But it could also be that she was seeing Moiraine and staring daggers at Moiraine. We saw a little hint there of Egwene still in her Shan-Chan Damani outfit, so maybe that was either a Teleron Riyadh thing, or perhaps something she'll have to face in her accepted test. There's a lot of moments that I'm really looking forward to seeing in this season and like seeing the payoff. We get this brief glimpse of Rand in his what I'm calling Into the Island look. And we saw a brief glimpse of this before in the teaser, and I pointed it out because I was like, ooh, what's this like Rand with the coiffed hair and the cool outfit and this like almost motorcycle vest look? It's very sleek, it's very modern. Especially now with what we're seeing with this background of like the concrete and the bright lights behind him. So I think instead of what I thought maybe we might have been seeing in the teaser of like, oh, this is a turning of the wheel where we're seeing evil Rand, with this context now and the background, I think we're seeing him going through the glass pillars and seeing the history of the Aiel stretching all the way back to the Age of Legends, and this is Rand in the Age of Legends, because we see him reliving his entire ancestry through the eyes of his Aiel ancestors back to before the breaking. So I think that's what we're seeing here, is he's seeing that life lived in the Age of Legends and that this is how people dressed and like how things looked then. But then what's very telling is that we cut from that to a shot of him doing more makeouts with Lanfear and being asked by Egwene, do you love her? We're gonna, see more of Moraine's journey into Ruidian that we didn't get to see in the novels, where she goes through another set of Terangrial, much like those used in the tower for the Aes Sedai and accepted tests, but it shows you possible glimpses of the future. So we're actually going to get to see what she sees in the show, unlike in the books. Very interesting scene of her kneeling before Rand, which she alluded to in this trailer, is something that the Aes Sedai will need to do in order for him to win. I'm very intrigued by this shot of Rand in the hall of the tower in his nobleman's coat, and we see it's an alternate version of reality where Moiraine is dressed as the Amerlin, and I can't quite tell who's standing next to her as her keeper, but it looks a lot like Swan. So this is a subversion and possible another turning of the wheel where what if Moiraine had been placed upon the Amerlin seat instead of Swan, and so Swan is her keeper instead, and how would that affect things overall in the plot? And like, how would they treat Rand as the dragon if that had happened? He's looking very nervous and scared there. A brief glimpse of Caemlyn here, so I'm hoping that we are going to get my Caemlyn cold open that I've been predicting forever and a day now. We're gonna get the long-awaited book scene where Galad is going to fight Mat with the quarterstaff in the tower. Some glimpses of the Battle of the Two Rivers. I said in the last episode rewatch that I did that I was really wanting to see more Trollocs, and it looks like we're definitely gonna get more Trollocs. A brief scene of Loial running through the woods in armor with his axe, the long-handled Ogier axe, with Bane and Chiad next to him. So I think this is going to be the plot that we get from the Battle of Two Rivers, where they figure out that the Trollocs are coming through an old waygate up in the mountains of Manetheren, and Loial goes off by himself with only Bane and Chiad to protect him, to close that gate to keep the Trollocs from being able to have access to the two rivers. And then, okay, here's what I wanted to talk about, and where the spoilers abound, because we see this shot of an Aiel in Kaidensor working clothes standing in a field. And we had a previous shot of Rand in his Kaidensor working clothes, his Into the Island outfit, working in a field, or something similar to this, farming with the other Aiel, because that's what they did. That was their role in the Age of Legends. They were more akin to the Tuatha'an or the Tinkers. They were pacifists. They were just known for being the ones that grew the crops and had a very peaceful way about them, and were even able to sing a song that brought harmony and peace to those around them. So I think we're getting a glimpse into the past with this, and Rand walking through the pillars and reliving his past lives. But even more intriguing than that is then we cut to a scene of Lanfear looking over her shoulder with her hair done up in this very, like, scholarly bun and in this white jacket. And I say scholarly because I think this is who Rand is looking at in that previous scene of him in his Into the Island jacket in the Age of Legends, because what we find out from these glimpses into the past is that not only were the Aiel these peaceful people and these servants, these working people during the Age of Legends, one thing that the Aiel remember is that they used to serve the Aes Sedai, but they don't know how. It turns out that the Aiel, or what used to be the Aiel back in the Age of Legends, also served specific Aes Sedai. And so I think what we're seeing here is the revelation that not only did the Aiel serve the Aes Sedai in the Age of Legends, but Rand, in one of his past lives, well, not in one of his past lives, but what he's seeing here through the eyes of his ancestors is that his ancestor served Moiraine Aeronile, the Aes Sedai, who would go on to become the Forsaken Lanfear. So I think we are seeing Moiraine Aeronile here in the Age of Legends, looking back over her shoulder at her humble servant Rand before she goes off to drill the bore into the Dark One's prison and initiate the breaking of the world. So that's why I was like gagged when I saw this shot, because if I'm putting two and two together and like she's looking at him and he was looking at her, because we saw he kind of like had his hand on his chest like this as like a salute. So yeah, I think we're seeing that glimpse of him finding out that not only did she have a thing in the past for Lews Therin Telamon and kind of still has this hold on Rand even now because of what he went through with her in season 2, but that his past self, well, his ancestors also had a connection to her, and that's what we're seeing here. So I'm like, this is like just such a brief glimpse of a moment, and it seems like such of a nothing moment, and blink and you'll miss it in the trailer. But for me, I'm like, that's what we're seeing here. We are seeing that epic reveal of like, here's who she was in the Age of Legends, and you were loyal to her. I had to sit down and make the video breakdown for that moment in particular. So that about wraps it up for the teaser and for what I specifically wanted to point out in the teaser. So I hope you enjoyed sitting down for this brief breakdown with me, and I'm even more stoked for season 3 now, and I hope you are too.